My alpha bully is my new roommate? Now, he won't stop flirting with me. If someone told me that senior year would involve sharing a bedroom with Logan Hale, I would have laughed in their face. Actually, I would have transferred schools, maybe changed my name, possibly faked my own death. Because Logan Hale wasn't just any guy. He was the guy who made my entire high school experience feel like a never-ending episode of survival mode. Alpha, football captain, walking, talking billboard for everything I wasn't. And now? Now he's sitting on the bed across from mine, smirking like he just won the lottery and I'm the grand prize. So yeah, welcome to my personal nightmare. And before you ask, no, I don't know how I'm going to survive this either. But if you want to find out, hit that subscribe button for Whisper BL. Because this story is about to get really, really complicated. My name is Will Parker, and I go to Crescent Ridge High in Massachusetts. It's one of those schools that looks perfect on the outside, all brick buildings and manicured lawns like something out of a college brochure. But underneath all that polish, there's a secret most humans don't know about. Werewolves. Alphas, betas, and the rarest of all, omegas. Most people walk around completely clueless, thinking we're just another private school full of overachievers. They have no idea some of us can shift, or that there's an entire hierarchy happening right under their noses. Me? I'm supposed to be invisible. That was the plan anyway. Keep my head down, get through senior year, and graduate without anyone figuring out my secret. Because here's the thing nobody knows about Will Parker. Scholarship kid, an average student. I'm an omega, a male omega, which makes me even rarer. And in a school full of alphas who think omegas are either trophies to claim or weaknesses to exploit, being outed would be social suicide. Or worse. My parents drilled it into me from the time I was 13 and first showed signs. Hide it. Suppress it. Never let anyone know. So I take suppressants every single day. Little white pills that keep my scent locked down and my heat cycles under control. They're supposed to make me undetectable, just another face in the crowd. And for 4 years, it worked. Until this summer, when everything changed. The school sent out an email in August. Due to overcrowding and some pack politics I didn't fully understand, they were converting part of the campus into mandatory dorm housing, which meant everyone had to have a roommate. I remember staring at that email, praying to every deity I could think of that I'd get someone quiet, someone harmless, maybe a beta who spent all his time playing video games or studying. I even would have settled for that weird kid who collected insects. Anyone but him. I should have known the universe hates me. Move-in day was a Saturday. I dragged my suitcase down the hallway of the new dorm building, checking my room number 3 times to make sure I had it right. Room 214. Second floor, end of the hall. The door was already half open when I got there, and my stomach immediately started doing backflips. Please be normal, I thought. Please be someone I can tolerate. I pushed the door open and my worst nightmare was sitting on the bed by the window. Logan Hale, 6'2" of pure alpha arrogance, dark hair still messy from practice, gray eyes that always looked like they were calculating something. He was wearing a black t-shirt that fit way too well, and joggers that hung low on his hips, and when he looked up at me, that infuriating smirk spread across his face like he'd been waiting for this moment his entire life. "Hey, roomie," he said, voice low and way too amused. I stood frozen in the doorway, suitcase handle death-gripped in my hand, brain completely offline. This couldn't be happening. Out of 300 students, how did I end up with him? Logan Hale. The guy who'd made my life miserable since freshman year. The guy who, accidentally, shouldered me in the hallway, stole my lunch spot, and made sure everyone knew I was at the bottom of the social food chain. No, I said out loud, shaking my head. Absolutely not. There's been a mistake. Logan's smirk widened. No mistake, Parker. Checked with the housing office twice. You're stuck with me. He leaned back on his hands, looking entirely too comfortable. Unless you want to sleep in the hallway. I won't judge. My brain screamed at me to turn around, march straight to the administration office, and demand a room change. Bribe someone, threaten someone, fake a medical condition. But my pride wouldn't let me run, not in front of him. So instead, I stepped inside, dragging my suitcase behind me like it weighed 300 pounds, and tried to pretend my heart wasn't trying to break out of my chest. Fine, I muttered, heading toward the empty bed on the left side of the room. But we're setting ground rules. You stay on your side, I stay on mine. No talking, no touching my stuff. Pretend I don't exist. Logan tilted his head, watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. That's going to be hard. Why? He shrugged, eyes trailing over me in a way that made my skin prickle. Because you're right there. I turned away before he could see my face flush, shoving my suitcase under the bed harder than necessary. What the hell was that supposed to mean? This was Logan Hale, the guy who spent 4 years making sure I knew exactly how insignificant I was. Now he was acting like we were old friends or something. As I unpacked, I kept my back to him, hyper-aware of every sound he made. The rustle of sheets, the creak of his bed. The way his footsteps sounded when he got up to grab something from his duffel bag. At one point, he walked past me to get to the closet, and I swear he got closer than necessary. Close enough that I caught his scent. Cedarwood and something warmer, something that made my omega instincts perk up in a way that terrified me. I shoved those instincts down hard, reminding myself that Logan was an alpha, a dangerous one. And if he ever found out what I really was, he'd either use it against me or claim me like some kind of prize. Neither option was acceptable. Need help with that? His voice came from directly behind me, and I jumped, spinning around to find him standing way too close, holding one of my boxes. I can carry my own stuff, I said, reaching for it. Our fingers brushed, just for a second. But it was enough to send a jolt of heat up my arm that I absolutely did not want to analyze. Logan's eyes sharpened, like he felt it too. Like he was trying to figure out what just happened. You're jumpy, he said, voice dropping lower. You always this nervous around me, or is today special? I'm not nervous, I lied, taking the box from him and turning away before he could see my face. I just don't want you in my personal space. Gonna be hard to avoid in a room this small, he said, and I could hear the amusement in his voice. Might as well get used to it. I didn't respond. Couldn't respond. Because the truth was I was terrified. Not of Logan hurting me physically, but of him getting too close. Of him noticing the things I'd spent years hiding. Of him figuring out that the reason I flinched when he touched me wasn't because I hated him. It was because some traitorous part of me didn't hate him at all. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. Let me rewind for a second, because you need to understand exactly why Logan Hale was the last person I wanted as a roommate. Our history didn't start senior year. It started the very first week of freshman year, and it's been a disaster ever since. Picture this. Freshman orientation. I was 14, nervous, trying to figure out where I fit in this massive school full of people who seemed to already know each other. I was in the cafeteria, sitting alone with my tray, when Logan walked past my table with his group of alpha friends. I didn't even look at him, but somehow he noticed me. He stopped, looked down at my tray, and smirked. Is that all you're eating? He asked, loud enough for people nearby to hear. Yeah, I said quietly, not wanting attention. Why? He leaned down, voice dropping to a mockingly sweet tone. Just wondering if you're planning to stay that small forever, or if you're hoping for a growth spurt. His friends laughed. I felt my face burn. And that was it. That was the moment Logan Hale decided I was fun to mess with. After that, it was constant. He'd bump my shoulder in the hallway and not apologize. He'd take the seat I'd been saving in the library. He'd make comments just loud enough for me to hear, but quiet enough that I couldn't call him out without looking paranoid. Sophomore year, it got worse. We had gym class together, and during a scrimmage, he tackled me so hard I saw stars. When the coach asked if I was okay, Logan just shrugged and said, he's fine, just needs to toughen up. I wanted to punch him, but I also wanted to disappear. Because even then, even when I hated him, there was something about the way he looked at me that made my stomach twist. Like he wasn't just messing with me for fun. Like he was testing me, pushing me, waiting for me to push back. Junior year, things got complicated. There was this one time in the locker room after practice. Most of the guys had already left, and I was finishing up when Logan came around the corner. I thought he was going to say something cruel, but instead, he just stopped and stared at me. His eyes did that thing where they flashed briefly, the sign of an alpha losing control for just a second. Then he stepped closer, so close I could feel the heat coming off him, and pinned me against the lockers with one hand beside my head. "Why do you always smell like that?" he asked, voice rough. My heart nearly exploded. Like what? Like something I shouldn't want. Then he walked away. Just like that. Left me there, heart racing, brain malfunctioning, completely unable to process what the hell just happened. And that's when I realized something terrifying. Logan Hale wasn't just bullying me. He was circling me, like a predator who hadn't decided yet if I was prey or something else entirely. So yeah, 4 years of that. 4 years of him making my life hell while simultaneously making me feel things I absolutely should not feel. And now I had to live with him, in the same room, for an entire year. God really did have a twisted sense of humor. The first night was awkward as hell. We didn't talk much. Logan plugged in his phone, scrolled through something, then got up to brush his teeth. I pretended to organize my desk while secretly watching him move around the room like he owned it. Confident, comfortable, completely unbothered by the fact that we were about to sleep 10 feet away from each other. When he came back from the bathroom, he was shirtless. Of course he was. Because apparently God wasn't done torturing me yet. I kept my eyes glued to my phone, refusing to look, but my peripheral vision was a traitor. I could see the lines of his shoulders, the muscles in his arms, the way his joggers sat low enough to show the V-line of his hips. This is hell, I thought. I'm in actual hell. "You gonna shower? Or are you planning to go to bed smelling like anxiety?" Logan asked, smirking as he climbed into his bed. "I showered this morning," I muttered. Sure you did." I bit my tongue to keep from snapping at him, grabbing my towel and heading to the bathroom before I said something I'd regret. The dorm bathrooms were communal, which meant I had to walk down the hall in my towel and shower in a stall that had seen better days. The hot water helped calm my nerves. But the second I got back to the room, the tension returned. Logan was lying on his bed with one arm behind his head, scrolling through his phone. He glanced up when I walked in, eyes trailing over me for just a second before returning to his screen. "Feel better?" he asked. "Yeah," I said shortly, climbing into my own bed and pulling the covers up like a shield. "Good. Try not to snore." "I don't snore." "We'll see." I turned off my lamp and faced the wall, willing my brain to shut off. But I could hear everything. The sound of Logan shifting in his bed. The quiet tap of his fingers on his phone screen. His breathing, slow and steady, like he didn't have a care in the world. Meanwhile, I was a tightly wound coil of nerves, painfully aware of how small this room was and how close he was. At some point, I must have dozed off because I woke up to the sound of my name. "Will." It was quiet. Almost a whisper. I stayed completely still, eyes closed, heart suddenly pounding. Was he awake? Was he talking to someone on the phone? "Will," he said again, softer this time. Then nothing. Just silence. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I stayed frozen, pretending to be asleep, until I finally heard him shift and settle back down. What the hell was that? Why was he saying my name in the middle of the night? Did he know I was awake? Was he messing with me? I didn't sleep again after that. Just lay there, staring at the wall, trying to convince myself it didn't mean anything. The next morning was worse. I woke up to my alarm, groggy and disoriented, only to find Logan already up, sitting on the edge of his bed in nothing but basketball shorts, scrolling through his phone. His hair was messy, eyes half-lidded, and he looked irritatingly perfect for someone who just woke up. "Morning, sunshine," he said without looking up. I grunted in response, grabbing my clothes and heading to the bathroom to change. When I came back, Logan was standing by the window, stretching, and I made the mistake of looking. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Because the way his back muscles moved when he raised his arms should have been illegal. I quickly looked away, focusing very intently on finding my shoes. "Sleep okay?" he asked, turning around. "Fine," I lied. "You?" "Great. Though I thought I heard you moving around a lot." My stomach dropped. "I sleep fine," I said too quickly. He raised an eyebrow. "If you say so." We headed to the cafeteria together, mostly because we were going in the same direction and it would have been weird to avoid him. The cafeteria was loud, packed with students grabbing breakfast before first period. I got in line, grabbed a tray, and tried to ignore the way people stared at us. Or more specifically, stared at me. Because apparently, word had already spread that I was rooming with Logan Hale, and people were confused. "Is that Will Parker?" I heard someone whisper. "Why is he with Logan?" I heard they're roommates now. Seriously? That's so random. I kept my head down, focusing on my food, but I could feel Logan's presence beside me like a physical weight. He didn't seem bothered by the attention. If anything, he looked amused. When we sat down at a table, Logan leaned back in his chair, watching me with that unreadable expression again. "People are staring," I muttered. "Let them." "Easy for you to say, you're used to it." He tilted his head. "You think I like the attention? Don't you?" He didn't answer, just kept looking at me like he was trying to figure out a puzzle. That's when I noticed it. The way his eyes kept drifting to my neck. The way his nostrils flared slightly like he was trying to catch a scent. My heart started racing. Did my suppressant wear off overnight? Was he smelling something? "You smell different today," Logan said quietly, confirming my worst fear. I nearly choked on my orange juice. "What?" "Your scent. It's different." "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, standing up abruptly. "I gotta go." "Will—" But I was already walking away, heart hammering, hands shaking. Because if Logan was noticing my scent, that meant the suppressants weren't working as well as they should. And if he figured out what I really was, everything I'd worked so hard to hide would come crashing down. I managed to avoid Logan for most of the morning, which was a miracle considering we lived in the same room. But third period was gym class, and there was no escaping him there. Coach Martinez had us running drills on the football field, and of course, Logan was team captain, which meant he got to pick teams, which meant I was going to be humiliated. "All right, listen up," Coach blew his whistle. "We're doing a scrimmage today. Logan, you're captain for the red team. Travis, you've got blue. Pick your players." I stood there with the other guys, trying to blend into the background, praying Logan would pick me last so I could just fade into obscurity on someone's bench. But instead, his eyes landed on me immediately. "Parker," he called out. Everyone turned to stare. My stomach dropped. "You're on my team." "Wait, what?" I blinked, confused. Logan never picked me first. He never picked me at all if he could help it. This had to be some kind of setup, some new way to humiliate me in front of everyone. But I jogged over to his side anyway because refusing would have been worse. Logan watched me approach with that same unreadable expression, and when I got close enough, he leaned down slightly, voice low enough that only I could hear. "Try to keep up, Parker." My face burned. "I can keep up just fine." His lips curved into a smirk. "We'll see." The scrimmage started, and I quickly realized why Logan picked me. He wanted to prove a point. Every time I got the ball, he was on me, blocking me, tackling me, getting way too close, way too physical, way too intense. At one point, I managed to dodge him and catch a pass that wasn't even meant for me, sprinting down the field before anyone could react. I could hear Logan behind me, closing the distance fast. My lungs burned. My legs screamed. But I pushed harder, because some stubborn part of me refused to let him win. I was 5 yards from the end zone when he caught me. His arms wrapped around my waist from behind, and we went down hard, crashing into the grass in a tangle of limbs. For a second, neither of us moved. I was on my back, breathless, staring up at the sky. Logan was braced above me, one hand planted beside my head, the other still gripping my waist. His chest heaved against mine, and I could feel the heat of his body bleeding through our clothes. His eyes locked on mine, and something shifted. Something dark and hungry flickered in his gaze, and my breath caught in my throat. "Didn't know you could run that fast," Logan said, voice rough. "Maybe I just wanted to get away from you," I shot back, trying to sound unaffected even though my heart was trying to break my ribs. His smirk widened. "Or maybe you wanted me to chase you." Before I could respond, he leaned down, lips close enough to my ear that I felt his breath. You know what's funny, Parker? What? I managed, voice barely steady. You smell even better when you're sweating. Then he pushed off me and stood, offering his hand like nothing happened. Like he didn't just say something that made my entire body short-circuit. I stared at his hand for a second too long before taking it, letting him pull me to my feet. Coach blew the whistle. Nice play, Parker. Hayes, stop letting him get past you. Logan just laughed, slapping my shoulder a little too hard. Lucky shot. Luck had nothing to do with it, I muttered, brushing grass off my shirt. He leaned in again, voice dropping. Keep talking like that, and I might actually start liking you. I shoved him away, face burning, and jogged back to position. But I could feel his eyes on me the entire time. Watching. Tracking. Like I was something he couldn't quite figure out but desperately wanted to. After practice, I headed straight for the locker room, desperate for a shower and some space away from Logan's suffocating presence. But the universe wasn't done messing with me yet. I was pulling my shirt over my head when I heard voices behind me. Familiar voices, the kind that made my stomach sink. Well, look who it is. I turned to find Travis Booth and two of his alpha buddies blocking the aisle between the lockers. Travis was tall, blonde, and had the kind of smile that promised trouble. He'd never liked me, mostly because I didn't bow down to him like everyone else did. Move, I said flatly, trying to step around them. Travis shifted, blocking my path. What's the rush, Parker? We just want to talk. I don't. Aw, come on. Don't be like that. He stepped closer, and I caught the sharp edge of his scent. Alpha dominance, thick and intentional, meant to make me submit. My omega instincts screamed at me to lower my eyes, to back down, but I forced myself to hold his gaze. We heard you're rooming with Logan now, Travis continued, smirking. Must be interesting, living with the Alpha King himself. He treating you okay? Or is he making you his little... Watch your mouth, I snapped. Travis's eyes flashed. Or what? One of his friends laughed. I don't get it. What does Logan see in you? You're not strong. You're not fast. You're just... He paused, nostrils flaring. Wait, do you smell that? My blood turned to ice. No. Smell what? Travis asked, stepping even closer. Too close. Close enough that I could see the exact moment his expression changed. Oh my God, he whispered, eyes widening. You're... Back off. The voice was low, dangerous, and came from directly behind me. I spun around to find Logan standing there, and the look on his face made my stomach flip. His eyes were glowing faintly, that telltale sign of an alpha losing control. His jaw was clenched so tight I thought he might crack a tooth. And the aura rolling off him was suffocating, pure dominance that made even Travis take a step back. We were just talking, Travis said, but his voice wavered. Didn't look like talking, Logan said, stepping between me and them. Looked like you were crowding him. We weren't. Leave. It wasn't a request. It was a command, laced with enough alpha power that Travis and his friends immediately turned and walked away without another word. The locker room fell silent. I stood there, heart racing, hands shaking, trying to process what just happened. Logan turned to face me, and the anger in his eyes softened into something else, something almost protective. You okay? He asked quietly. I'm fine, I said, but my voice betrayed me. I didn't need you to... Yes, you did. He stepped closer, voice dropping. They were about to figure it out, weren't they? My throat closed up. I don't know what you're talking about. Will. The way he said my name made my knees weak. I've known something was different about you since sophomore year. Your scent, the way you react to alphas, the way you flinch when someone gets too close. He paused, studying my face. You're not a beta. I opened my mouth to deny it, to lie, to do anything to protect my secret. But the words wouldn't come. Because Logan was staring at me like he already knew the truth. Like he'd known for a long time and was just waiting for me to admit it. What are you? He asked softly. I swallowed hard. Does it matter? Yeah, he said, stepping even closer. Close enough that I had to tilt my head back to look at him. It does. Because if you're what I think you are, then every alpha in this school is going to come for you the second they figure it out. And what? I challenged, anger flaring. You're going to protect me? Why? So you can claim me yourself? His expression darkened. No, because I don't want anyone else touching you. The words hung in the air between us, heavy and loaded with meaning I didn't want to unpack. My heart was doing that stupid fluttering thing again, and I hated it. Hated how much I wanted to believe him. You don't even like me, I whispered. Logan's hand came up, fingers brushing my jaw so gently it made my breath catch. Who said I didn't like you? Then he turned and walked away, leaving me standing there, shaking, completely undone. I didn't see Logan for the rest of the day. He wasn't in our room when I got back, and part of me was relieved. I needed space. I needed to think. But mostly, I needed to figure out what the hell was happening with my suppressants. I pulled the pill bottle out of my bag and stared at it. The label looked normal. The pills looked normal. But something was definitely wrong. I'd been taking them religiously for 4 years, and they'd always worked. My scent stayed locked down, my heat cycles stayed predictable, and nobody ever suspected a thing. But lately, I'd been feeling off. Warmer than usual. More sensitive to alpha scents. And now people were starting to notice my scent slipping through. I opened the bottle and examined the pills closely. They looked the same as always. Small, white, unmarked. But when I held one up to the light, I noticed something I'd never seen before. A faint discoloration. Almost like the coating had been tampered with. My stomach dropped. No, that couldn't be right. But the more I looked, the more certain I became. Someone had messed with my suppressants. Someone wanted my omega status exposed. But who? And why? I was spiraling into panic when the door opened and Logan walked in. He stopped when he saw me sitting on my bed, pill bottle in hand, and his expression immediately shifted to concern. What's wrong? He asked, closing the door behind him. Nothing, I said quickly, shoving the bottle back in my bag. Will? He crossed the room in 3 strides and sat down on the edge of my bed, close enough that I could smell that damn cedarwood scent again. Talk to me. Why do you care? I shot back. Because... He stopped, jaw working like he was trying to figure out how to say something difficult. Because you're my roommate, and because I'm not the asshole you think I am. I laughed bitterly. You've spent 4 years proving otherwise. Yeah, well. He rubbed the back of his neck, looking almost guilty. Maybe I didn't know how else to deal with the fact that I couldn't stop thinking about you. My brain flatlined. What? You heard me. His eyes met mine, and the intensity in them made my heart stutter. I've been watching you since freshman year. At first, I thought I just wanted to mess with you because you didn't fall all over yourself trying to impress me like everyone else did. But then it became something else. What are you talking about? I whispered. I'm talking about the fact that I can't be in the same room as you without wanting to get closer. I'm talking about the way your scent drives me insane, even when you're trying to hide it. I'm talking about the fact that I punched a locker after you walked away from me in the cafeteria this morning, because I hated that I upset you. I stared at him, completely speechless. This couldn't be real. Logan Hale didn't do feelings. He did dominance and control and cocky smirks. He didn't do vulnerable confessions in dim dorm rooms. You're lying, I said weakly. I'm not. He leaned closer, and I could see every fleck of gold in his gray eyes. And I think you know that. My hands were shaking. My entire body was shaking. Because he was right. Some part of me had always known. The way he looked at me. The way he always seemed to know where I was. The way he got irrationally angry when other alphas got too close. I'm an omega, I blurted out before I could stop myself. Logan didn't look surprised. Didn't look disgusted. He just nodded slowly. I know. How long have you known? Since junior year. That day in the locker room when your scent slipped for just a second. I've been trying to figure out how to tell you I knew without freaking you out. I let out a shaky laugh. Well, you failed. Yeah. He smiled, small and almost shy. I'm not great at this. At what? Talking about feelings, being honest. Not being a complete disaster around you. His hand found mine, fingers threading through mine carefully like he was afraid I'd pull away. But I need you to know something, Will. What? I don't care that you're an Omega. I don't care that you've been hiding it. I don't care about any of that. His grip tightened. I just care that you're safe. And right now, with your scent slipping more and more, you're not. My throat tightened. My suppressants aren't working right. I know, I can tell. He reached over and pulled the pill bottle out of my bag before I could stop him. Let me see them. Logan. Will, trust me. I watched as he opened the bottle and examined the pills the same way I had. Look. He held one up to the light, showing me the discoloration. Someone replaced your regular suppressants with weaker ones. Probably tried to match the coating, but they didn't quite get it right. My blood ran cold. Who would do that? I don't know, but whoever it is, they want you exposed. His voice was hard now, protective and angry. They want every alpha in this school to know you're an Omega so they can... He stopped himself, jaw clenching. So they can what? Claim you, he said quietly. Fight over you, hurt you. I felt sick. What am I supposed to do? First, you stop taking these. He tossed the bottle in the trash. Second, we figure out who did this. And third... He paused, looking at me with an expression so intense it made my chest ache. You let me protect you. Why? I whispered. Why do you care so much? Because you're mine. The words came out rough, possessive, and absolutely certain. You've been mine since the first time I saw you, even if I was too stupid to realize it. My breath caught. Logan, I know you don't trust me. I know I've given you every reason not to, but I'm asking you to trust me now. Let me keep you safe. His hand cupped my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. Please. I should have said no, should have pulled away, should have protected myself the way I'd been doing for years. But sitting there, looking into his eyes, feeling the warmth of his touch, I realized something terrifying. I didn't want to say no. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to let him in. Okay, I whispered. Relief flooded his expression. Yeah? Yeah. And then, because apparently I'd completely lost my mind, I leaned forward and kissed him. The second my lips touched his, everything else disappeared. The fear, the doubt, the 4 years of rivalry and tension. All of it evaporated, leaving nothing but heat and want and the overwhelming sensation of finally. Logan made a sound low in his throat, something between a growl and a groan, and his hand slid to the back of my neck, pulling me closer. His lips were warm and demanding, moving against mine like he'd been thinking about this for years and wasn't going to waste a single second. I kissed him back just as desperately, hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer until there was no space left between us. He tasted like mint and something darker, something addictive, and I couldn't get enough. His other hand found my waist, fingers pressing into my skin through my shirt, and I gasped against his mouth. He took advantage immediately, tongue sliding against mine in a way that made my entire body light up. I'd been kissed before. Awkward, fumbling kisses with people who didn't matter. But this was different. This was Logan kissing me like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. His forehead rested against mine, eyes still closed, and I could feel his heartbeat racing against my chest. That was... he started. Yeah, I agreed breathlessly. He smiled, and it was the most genuine smile I'd ever seen on his face. I've wanted to do that for a really long time. How long? Since sophomore year. Maybe longer. His thumb traced my jaw. You have no idea how hard it's been keeping my hands off you. You have a funny way of showing it, I said, but there was no bite to my words. He laughed softly. Yeah, I know. I'm an idiot. You are, I agreed. But maybe... I hesitated, then decided to just say it. Maybe you're my idiot. His eyes darkened with something that made my stomach flip. Say that again. You're my idiot? No, the first part. My? He kissed me again, slower this time, but somehow even more intense. When he finally pulled away, he pressed his lips to my forehead, then my temple, then down to my jaw. Mine, he murmured against my skin. You're mine, Will Parker. And I'm never letting anyone hurt you. I should have been scared by how possessive he sounded. Should have pulled away and reminded him that I wasn't property. But instead, I felt safe, protected. Wanted in a way I'd never felt before. Logan? Yeah? If we're doing this, whatever this is, you can't just decide things for me. I'm not some helpless omega who needs saving. He pulled back to look at me, expression serious. I know you're not. You're strong as hell, Will. Stronger than most alphas I know, but that doesn't mean you have to face this alone. I studied his face, looking for any sign of dishonesty, but all I saw was sincerity. Okay, I said finally, but we do this together, as equals. As equals, he agreed. Then his lips curved into that familiar smirk. Even though I'm taller, stronger, and significantly better looking. I shoved his shoulder. You're impossible. And you like it, he shot back, catching my hand and pulling me closer. Maybe, I admitted. Definitely, he corrected, then kissed me again. We spent the next few days trying to figure out who tampered with my suppressants. Logan was relentless, asking questions, checking security footage, even interrogating some of the alphas he suspected might have something against me. But we kept hitting dead ends. Meanwhile, my scent was getting harder to control. Even without the tampered pills, my body was struggling. I could feel my heat approaching, which was terrifying because heats for unmated omegas were dangerous, especially in a school full of alphas who would smell it the second it started. Logan noticed immediately. He started staying closer, walking me to every class, sitting with me at lunch, basically acting like my personal bodyguard. People definitely noticed. The whispers got louder, the stares more obvious, and some of the alphas started looking at me differently. Hungrier. It all came to a head on Friday. I was walking back from the library alone. Logan had practice and I'd insisted I'd be fine, when 3 alphas cornered me in an empty hallway. I recognized 2 of them from Travis's group. The third was someone I didn't know, but his intent was clear from the way he was looking at me. Well, well, the one in front said, stepping closer. All alone, Parker? Where's your alpha bodyguard? He's not my bodyguard, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Really? Because he's been all over you lately. Makes a guy wonder why. He tilted his head, nostrils flaring. And that scent. You're hiding something, aren't you? My heart started racing. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. He stepped even closer, and I backed up until I hit the lockers behind me. You smell like Omega. Faint, but it's there. And if I can smell it, that means others can too. Back off, I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. He laughed. Or what? You gonna fight me? You gonna call your alpha to come save you? He won't have to. The voice came from behind them, and I'd never been so relieved to hear Logan's voice in my life. All 3 alphas turned, and I saw their expressions shift from cocky to nervous when they saw Logan standing there. His eyes were glowing full gold now, and the dominance rolling off him was suffocating. I said back off, Logan repeated, voice deadly calm. We were just talking, one of them tried. Didn't look like talking. Logan stepped forward, and they immediately backed up. Looked like you were threatening what's mine. The lead alpha's eyes widened. Yours? Yeah. Mine. Logan's gaze shifted to me, and something in his expression softened. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me. The 3 alphas exchanged looks, then quickly walked away without another word. The second they were gone, Logan was in front of me, hands on my shoulders, eyes scanning me for injuries. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? I'm fine, I said, but my voice shook. They figured it out, his jaw clenched. This is getting worse, Will. Your scent is getting stronger, which means your heat is coming. And when it does, I know, I interrupted. Every alpha in this school is going to know what I am. We need to tell someone, the principal, your parents, someone who can protect you. No. I shook my head firmly. If we tell anyone, they'll pull me out of school. My parents will lock me away somewhere until they can find an alpha to... I stopped, unable to say the words. To claim you, Logan finished quietly. Yes. He was quiet for a moment, then pulled me into his arms. I went willingly, pressing my face against his chest, breathing in his scent to calm my racing heart. I won't let that happen, he said into my hair. I don't care what I have to do. You're not going anywhere. Logan, I mean it, Will. He pulled back just enough to look at me. You're mine. Not because I claimed you, or because some outdated alpha omega bullshit says so, but because I choose you. And if you'll have me, I'll spend every day proving that you can trust me. My eyes stung with tears I refused to let fall. You really mean that? Every word. He cupped my face gently. So what do you say? Will you let me be yours? I didn't trust my voice, so I just nodded. He smiled, relieved and happy, and absolutely devastating. Then he kissed me right there in the hallway where anyone could see. That night, Logan didn't leave our room. He stayed close, hyper-aware of every sound, every shift in my scent. I could feel my heat building, a slow burn that started in my chest and spread through my entire body. It wasn't fully triggered yet, but it was close. Too close. You should go, I said, even though the last thing I wanted was for him to leave. If you stay when my heat hits, I'm not going anywhere, he interrupted. Logan, you don't understand. When it hits, I won't be able to control myself. And you're an alpha. Your instincts will... I don't care. He sat down on my bed, pulling me into his lap so I was straddling him. His hand steady on my waist. I'm staying, and when your heat hits, I'll help you through it, if you want me to. My breath caught. That's not... We can't... Why not? His thumbs traced circles on my hips. Because I'm supposed to bond with someone my parents choose? Because some outdated law says omegas don't get to decide who claims them? He leaned his forehead against mine. Screw that, Will. You get to choose. So tell me, do you want me here? I looked into his eyes, saw nothing but sincerity and want, and something that looked dangerously close to love. And I realized I'd already made my choice. Maybe I'd made it years ago. Yes, I whispered. I want you here. He kissed me then, slow and deep and full of promise. Then I'm not going anywhere. Not tonight. Not ever. Logan? I'm going to claim you, Will, properly. The way you deserve. And when I do, every alpha in this school will know you're mine. My heart was racing for an entirely different reason now. You want to bond with me? I want everything with you. His voice was rough with emotion. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to protect you. I want to build a life with you, if you'll let me. Tears finally spilled over and he kissed them away. Is that a yes? He asked softly. Yes, I managed. Yes, that's a yes, you idiot. He laughed, and it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. Then he kissed me again, and this time, I let myself fall completely. So yeah, my alpha bully became my roommate, then my protector, then my boyfriend, and eventually my mate. We still fought, still drove each other crazy, but now when he pinned me against the lockers, it ended with kisses instead of insults. And when he growled my name, well, let's just say I didn't mind anymore. Someone did tamper with my suppressants. We never figured out who, but Logan made sure I got new ones. Ones he personally picked up from the pharmacy every month. And when my heat finally came, he was there, just like he promised. We bonded that night, officially, permanently, and I've never regretted it for a second. So if you're wondering if enemies can become lovers, if alphas and omegas can choose each other instead of being chosen, if a scholarship kid and a rich football captain can make it work, the answer is yes. It's messy and complicated and absolutely worth it. Thanks for watching this Whisper BL story. If you enjoyed Will and Logan's journey, hit that like button and smash subscribe because we have so many more stories coming your way. Drop a comment telling us what kind of couple you want to see next. And remember, the best love stories are the ones you choose for yourself. Until next time, this is Whisper BL, where your favorite stories come to life.